Welcome to the Chalkboards, my fellow football nerds, for episode number 66 of Chalk Talk, brought to you by the Painted Lines. I'm your host, Shane Half. You can follow me on Twitter at halfandhalf_TPL. I'm joined today by the godfather of the Painted Lines. It is Deibs. Give him a follow on Twitter at Mr. Crockpot. Deibs, how are you doing today?
Doing well, man. Thanks for having me on, talking some NFL draft. Pretty much putting to bed all draft talk until at least a few months from now. Once the games start rolling in, there'll be a lot more content. But celebrating the drafts from 2019 and on, man, this is going to be fun.
This is it. This is the end of draft, at least for, a month or two. Yeah. If the Eagles season goes poorly, you can expect us to be heavily into draft content in October. But we're going to hope for the best right now. We're going to put to bed some of the recent drafts. Today, Deibs and I are going to be going head-to-head, snake drafting teams using only players from the 2019 through 2021 drafts. So we've got 3 drafts to work with. We are going to draft the best rosters that we can against each other. And then we'll put them up on Twitter. We'll let you guys vote for the winner. But next week, Madden comes out, Madden 23, and I'm actually going to build these rosters and let them play a game, and we'll report back. Maybe we'll stream the result. Maybe we'll stream it. I don't know. But we'll get it out there, and we'll let you guys see if Madden agrees with your selection. So we're going to draft 12 players on each side of the ball. Basically 3 wide receivers and 2 tight ends. So you can run 11 or 12 personnel. On defense, we're going to draft a base defense, whether that be 4-3 or 3-4. So 3 linebackers or 4 if you run a 3-4, and then we'll add a nickel back so we can run nickel. So that's kind of where we're going. It's going to be 24 total rounds. We're going to snake draft it back and forth. So whoever has pick 1 won't pick again until pick 4 and so on. So, Deibs, I'll ask you, do you want the first pick? Or do you want to go second?
Because I think I'm pretty sure where you're going to go with the number 1 pick. I'll take the number 1 pick.
All right. So you're sure where I'm going to go. So you're going to snipe me. Is that what you're saying here?
Possibly. We'll see.
All right.
We'll see. I'm going to make my first pick.
Yes.
All right. So there's a lot of really good options here to go. I'm a guy, though, who believes firmly in, building through the trenches. I love to build a good offensive line and a good defensive line. I'm going to go with an edge rusher on my end. And, it all starts at getting to the quarterback. And I'm between 2 here that I like specifically. And my first overall selection will be Micah Parsons from the Dallas Cowboys here for Team Deibs.
All right, so Team Deibs takes Micah Parsons. Let me mark that off on my little cheat sheet here. That's a good pick. I was interested where he was going to go, if he was going to go as a linebacker or as an edge rusher, because I kind of had him listed in both, so I could have a little bit of flexibility. So I like that. When you started talking, I was a little nervous because I thought you were about to take the guy that I was going to take, but you didn't. I'm also going to take an edge rusher, so I'm going to take Nick Bosa. Is that the other guy that you were debating with?
100% Nick Bosa.
Yeah, there's just, when you look at the rushers, it's just those 2 guys stand apart. And so as soon as you took Parsons, I've got to take Bosa. I don't want you to get him at pick 4 on the wraparound there. So I'm going to take him off of the board here. And then I get a second pick, my back-to-back pick here, which is interesting. It's hard to decide where to go with some of these. There's some positions like quarterback is extremely important, but I think there's a 1A, 1B quarterback. And so we know my love for Justin Herbert, but Joe goes right there too. And so it's one of those things where it's like, I'm not going to take either of those guys this early because there's 2 really good ones. So I'm trying to look more for positions where there is a gap. And another position, I think there is a gap. I'm going to go right back to the defensive line, and I'm going to take interior defensive lineman Jeffrey Simmons.
No! That's exactly where I was going.
Yeah, I feel it. Simmons, I remember when the Eagles hype train was around, it wasn't a hype train. People were concerned about taking a guy with a medical red shirt. And, man, if they had. Simmons has been a monster for the Titans ever since he came back off of that injury. By far, I think the best interior defensive lineman that's available in this draft format, 2019 through 2021. So we're just going to stack up the defensive line here and take Simmons off the board.
That was a great selection, man. That's literally that was my next selection. I'll keep that train rolling, man. Give me Chase Young. Give me Chase Young as my other edge rusher here. The dude is an absolute beast when he's on the field. Chase Young from Washington here.
Young hasn't quite lived up to like the surefire, like Hall of Fame generational guy that he was billed as, but a lot of it's been injury related. And so if he can get that sorted out, and obviously in our Madden simulation, that won't matter in terms of, if you were actually constructing this team, it might, but Chase Young's a really good pick there.
I go again, correct?
Yep. You've got 2 here.
We will take, so I'm between 2 guys here. I'm going to keep building through the trenches. That's how I roll here. And I'm going to go with my right tackle for the next 10 plus years, and that's Tristan Wirfs out of 2020. I think the dude is an absolute monster. So, Wirfs for me.
Great pick. That's another one of those where there's some good offensive tackles, but there's a clear gap there between Wirfs and the next best guy. So I am up here. I'm going to look at another position that I think is a little difficult. There hasn't been a ton of great players come out at this position in the last few years, but there has been one. I'm going to go to cornerback, and I'm going to take A.J. Terrell.
Nice. I had him really high.
Capitalize that. A.J. Terrell, which I remember being mad that the Eagles didn't trade up to go get CeeDee Lamb in that draft, because the Falcons took A.J. Terrell, and I was like, that guy wasn't even going to go in the first round, and he's turned out to be a really good corner. So maybe I'm telling on myself a little bit there. And then I get my second selection here. I am also going to go to – well, I don't need to go edge yet. You've locked that out already. I'm going to go to the offensive line, and I'm going to take one of my guys, a guy that I have just been a stand for ever since, he came out in the draft, and that is
Creed
Humphrey. Creed Humphrey, one of the best. I think you could argue he's a top 3 center in the NFL already. Chiefs got a tremendous value out of him in the second round. He's going to anchor my offensive line here.
Love that selection. I knew that. As soon as you started saying that, I knew that was your guy for sure. Surprised we're not really hitting the skill positions yet. It's really interesting. But I'm going to lock up the top 2 tackles here. And my next selection will be Rashawn Slater here. I think I've got 2 bookends on the defensive line and on the offensive line. So I'm feeling pretty good. Where should we go from here?
Is it A-R-A-S or R-E-S? I can't ever remember.
R-A-S-H. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I typed. Okay, good. So you've locked down tackle. I guess that's another position I will just wait a while on now. You've got another pick on the board here.
Yep, I've got another pick. I love that Jeffrey Simmons pick because I don't really know what's after that when it comes to interior defensive line. I have a huge gap on my cheat sheet here. Next up, I'm going to go a guy that I absolutely thought was sensational in his rookie year, and that is Jamar Chase. I'm going to start the train of wide receiver. Jamar Chase is my wide receiver.
All right. Okay, so the first skill position player off the board. Wide receiver is one. I really struggled to power rank these. There's been so many good receivers that have come out in the last few years. Chase definitely belongs up near the top of that list, though. So I get 2 picks here. Let's see. I'm going to go with another guy that I think is just a little bit above everyone else at his position. I'm going to go to safety, and I'm going to take Antoine Winfield Jr.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If I can spell it. I can't spell. There's an I in there. There's an I and an N in there. And a T. I'm just typoing everywhere here. It's the pressure of making the picks. So Antoine Winfield Jr., I think, he can lock down half the field in the back of my defense and give some support to what I think is kind of some substandard quarterbacks, at least compared to the receivers that they're going to have to go up against. And then I'm going to take another. No, man. I'm gonna go. I don't know that I would do this. I don't value this position this highly in real life, but again, just looking at those gaps here, I'm gonna go to running back and I'm gonna take Jonathan Taylor.
I'm stunned. I'm absolutely stunned.
I would never value it that highly in real life, but I just think he's so much better than the guys behind him in this draft. Whether you look at Najee Harris or Josh Jacobs, I think was 2019. I can't remember for sure. Harris was the other guy that I had ranked. But I'm going to take Jonathan Taylor. I'm going to get an elite skill position player here to try to set myself apart from your team.
Yep. I've got my outside wide receiver here. So I'm going to get a guy that's versatile and can dominate in the slot. I'm going to go Justin Jefferson with my next selection here. I really like the potential of that duo right there. My next selection will be, let's go. Yeah, let's go. This is hard, man. This is not as easy as you think.
It's not.
Mostly because they're guys that I really like and I don't want you to take them. So it's like.
There is an element of trying to get inside of your opponent's head here.
Yeah. Yeah, give me Kyle Pitts. Give me Kyle Pitts here. At tight end. He's going to be my TE1.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick because he wasn't going to make it back to you.
Really?
Yeah, I was definitely taking Kyle Pitts right there.
Okay.
Just there's such a gap between him and I guess you would say TJ Hawkinson is probably the next tight end, which he's good too, but he's not Kyle Pitts good. So I was definitely going to take Pitts if you didn't take him right there. That was going to be another one of my weapons for the offense. Let's see. I'm going to go to the offensive line again. I'm going to take offensive guard Michael Onwenu. One of the better value picks in recent history. I think Onwenu was like a 6th round pick or something like that. He's been a really good offensive guard. I don't know where you had him or if you had him on your list, but
I did not.
I go a little bit deeper down the rabbit hole of offensive line than anybody else. I put him on your team though, and I typed him in at tight end for some reason. You don't want Michael Onwenu playing tight end, but he will be a really good offensive guard for you. And now I'm going to select my first wide receiver just because I want to make sure I get one of these guys. I'm going to take DK Metcalf.
Yep.
Give me a big-bodied guy on the outside. He's a deep threat. He can I could do a lot of different things with him. So give me DK Metcalf.
Awesome. I got back-to-back picks. So we are going to hit the outside cornerback position. 2 guys that I have rated really high on mine. 11th, my 11th rated prospect here. I'm going Trevon Diggs from the 2020 draft. And I will follow that up with a guy that I absolutely loved last year, and that is Sauce Gardner for my selection.
Right. Let's see. Okay, so I am up again. I'm going to go ahead and lock out another position here. I'm going to take safety Javon Holland.
Oh, that's your boy.
He's just one of the many safeties that I've fallen in love with that fell out of the first round and the Eagles didn't take that turned out to be great somewhere else. But give me Javon Holland. He can play the slot a little bit too, which I don't know. We'll see how this draft falls. He may be my slot. I may take another safety before it's all said and done. And then I'm going to look at wide receiver again here, and I'm going to go with scary Terry McLaurin.
Ooh, nice.
Give me that versatility. He's just kind of a move piece, a weapon I can use all over the field. So DK Metcalf and Terry McLaurin. I've got speed for days at the wide receiver position.
Nice. All right. Looking at my list here.
It gets tough.
Yeah, I'm going to wrap up my wide receiver position with A.J. Brown.
Okay.
I like that trio of wide receivers right there quite a bit. And then I haven't addressed the interior. Look how you've addressed the interior offensive line. I've done nothing.
I was just stealing those interior guys so you had nobody to block Jeffrey Simmons.
You took Terry McLaurin. He's off the board. Yeah, give me Jeremy Chin. Jeremy Chin here at safety. I gotta keep working on my secondary. Oh, we need O-line. All right, fine. I'll go O-line here. And we're not doing the 2022 draft, correct?
Well, you took Sauce, so.
Oh, that's right.
We'll do like one, or we'll say you can do like one on each side of the ball. We'll change the rules on the fly here.
All right. I'm going to take that right now. Probably a reach, but a guy I like a lot, and I think he's going to be a big-time pro for the next 10-plus years. Give me Tyler Linderbaum at center. I think he's going to be just a Pro Bowler for a long, long time. I love that guy.
Okay, perfect. So you've got Tyler Linderbaum, you got Sauce Gardner, you've got a 2022 guy on each side of the ball here. Jeremy Chin, by the way, another guy, just another safety that I fell in love with that fell out of this first round that the Eagles didn't draft, and he turned into a great player somewhere else. And not to be a spoiler, but there's at least one more safety that I'm sure you're going to draft that I could say that about as well. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Justin Reed, all of those guys have been my guys in the draft. They've all been great somewhere else. I'm going to round out my interior offensive line here. I'm going to take Chris Lindstrom.
Nice.
And then I'm just going to wait on my tackles because you're already done there. So that'll lock out my interior offensive line. I'm all done there. I can wait on wide receiver. So I could go interior defensive line, corner, linebacker. I'm going to take Patrick Surtain for my second cornerback.
I had him rated really high on my board.
Yeah, I liked Surtain. I liked him better than J.C. Horn in the draft. Now, obviously, we didn't get to see a lot of Horn because he got hurt, but I really liked Patrick Surtain. I think he's gonna have a really solid career. He's not gonna be, I don't think, like just a shutdown corner, but he's gonna be a really solid corner one, and he's gonna be my corner too. So I'm pretty happy about that. We got somebody chiming in the chat that says I need to go linebacker. We'll get there. We'll get there. I've got a bunch of linebacker guys. I feel like I can save that one for at least another round. So you are up, Deibs, here. You need to address that linebacker position too, according to our friend on Facebook.
That would be a good idea. Let's do it. I'm going to go back-to-back linebackers here. First up, we will go Devin Bush out of the 2019 draft is my first selection. And a guy that I really liked out of the 2021 draft, just to make your co-host extremely happy, and I think he's an absolute monster, is Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is my next selection.
Love Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. He was also one of my favorite guys that draft that I just really wanted the Eagles to draft, but that's not what this podcast is about. It's not about lamenting all the great players that I would have picked for the Eagles. So I'll let that one lie. But Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is a great pick there. Let's see. I still need to go interior defensive line. I need to go cornerback. I'm going to finish up my cornerback slot here with Jamel Dean out of Tampa Bay. I think Jamel Dean, he's been a really good player. I think he's really underrated because he's kind of overshadowed by some of the other guys on that defense. Antoine Winfield, he's had a little bit of injury issues, but I think Jamel Dean is a really solid player, especially for someone that I'm going to stick in the slot. So Jamel Dean will round out my secondary. and it is back. Was that 2 picks? Yeah, that was 2 picks. Wait, that was 1 pick.
I think that was 1 pick.
Okay, so I got to pick again. So I take Jamel Dean off the board there. I could go with a linebacker here. I don't need to round out receiver yet. I can wait on tackle, so it's got to be. I'm gonna go with a linebacker here. I'm gonna take Devin White.
No, that's where I was going.
I can't let you have both of the athletic Devons, so I'm gonna snipe Devin White from you here to give me at least something at linebacker.
Dude, he's just a wrecker, man. I love Devin White.
All right, you are up. You're getting advised to look at safety and quarterback here, Deibs.
Wait a minute. I got Jeremy Chin on my roster.
Now you changed that. You changed that to Linderbaum.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
All right, give me Jeremy Chin.
Okay.
And then, all right, Devin White's off the board. Wow, there's so many good edge rushers left still on this.
I know, that's why I've been holding off.
It's insane. Jeremy Chin, yeah. If I take a guy and just fit him in the slot at corner, would you be okay with that?
If you say what if you take a guy and put him in the slot?
Yeah, like a corner. Like for if I'm like, I've got 3 cornerbacks here listed. Should I? That third corner should that be like my nickel guy? Like, what are we thinking?
Oh, it doesn't matter. You can just take a corner. We can arrange which one's the slot guy later if you want.
Man, this is hard. I'm gonna go off the board here a little bit.
Okay.
Give me Elgton Jenkins, a guy that is extremely versatile. It can play all over the offensive line. He can play center. He can play guard. He's a monster. Jenkins for me.
He's even played a little bit of tackle, I think.
Yep. Yeah, he's Swiss Army now.
Hasn't done it a lot, but he's definitely a guy that could play a little bit of anywhere for you.
Yep. I go again, right?
You took Chin and Jenkins there, so I should be up now. Okay, so I'm still I'm looking at what we share here. You could technically take another tight end, linebacker, interior defensive line. I guess I'm going to go ahead and snag a tight end so you don't snipe me there. I'm going to take TJ Hawkinson. I don't want you to end up with the only 2 good tight ends that are available here. And then other position we share would be linebacker. So I'm going to take Nick Bolton as a linebacker. So kind of rounding out those positions. We're getting close to not having a lot of shared positions anymore, but you are back up here for your next 2 picks.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna let you have your boy. Give me Joe Burrow for my QB1. I know you're gonna want Justin Herbert, but I've got Jamar Chase, so it just makes sense to keep that ball rolling. Then I'm gonna look at the interior defensive line. Give me Quinnen Williams out of the 2019 draft. He's solid. There's just such a steep cliff at this area. So Quinnen Williams for me.
All right. Yeah, that's a good pick. I probably would have taken him a little while ago, except I'm pretty sure I'm saving my draft pick, my rookie, for that interior defensive line spot. So not to spoil where I might go there. I'm going to take my last linebacker here. I'm going to close out that slot. I'm going to take Isaiah Simmons.
Nice linebacker.
So that fills out linebacker for me. The only place we share now is tight end 2. with the exception of interior defensive line, and you can't take Jordan Davis from me there. So I'm going to go ahead and get my second tight end. I'm going to get Pat Freiermuth.
Nice.
He's a guy that I think you and I both liked Freiermuth when he was coming out. He's been better than I expected, but I'll take him as my tight end too.
Very good selection.
So we can start kind of filling them in here because we don't overlap, so we can't snipe guys from anybody here. So give me two of your guys here, Deibs.
My goodness. I'll go Najee Harris, running back. Looking at my third corner here and third linebacker, and I need another safety. Holy shit. Give me Greg Newsome. Give me Greg Newsome. I think that'll fit nicely.
I like it. Greg Newsome. Okay, so I am up. I'll go ahead and fill in my quarterback here. I'm going to take Justin Herbert. And then I will fill in one of my offensive tackle slots here. I'm going to take Penei Sewell.
You love him.
I love Sewell. It didn't look as good as Slater in the rookie year, but I'm still pretty convinced that he is going to be just fine. So I will toss it back to you here for two more of yours.
I got to get a safety. Give me I need someone in nickel that can thrive in nickel. Give me Darnell Savage for my next safety. I had him kind of rated lower, but he'll fit in nicely. Then we get to right. Was that? Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Man. I have no idea what to do for my tight end position. Absolutely no idea. I'm gonna have to go back.
You want a suggestion? I'll give you one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dawson Knox is the other guy I had on there. He's the only other one I had ranked.
I have no idea who that is.
He's the Bills tight end. He was like a third or fourth round pick, I think, in 2019.
Jesus. Jesus Christ. This is not easy. All right, got my corners. Got my wide receivers. Was Jesse Bates in 2019?
No, he was 2018. He's one I looked up because I would have had him really highly rated, but he was a 2018 pick.
Okay. Man, oh man. I don't even know where to go for my second interior defensive lineman position. I have no idea. Or tight end.
Look at guys like Ed Oliver or Christian Barmore, Dexter Lawrence, maybe for
Ed Oliver was the one I was thinking. Just give me Ed Oliver. We'll
okay. There was a lot of hype around Ed Oliver in his draft, and I don't think he's ever lived up to that, but he's been quietly like a solid player in Buffalo. So
yeah,
I was all over the Ed Oliver top 15 pick train, and that didn't age well, but he's a solid player at least. I'm going to use my rookie pick on the defense here, and I'm going to take Jordan Davis on the interior offensive line. So you are not running the ball on Jeffrey Simmons and Jordan Davis. And Jeffrey Simmons can rush passer a little bit too. So then I'm going to go ahead and just close out my defense here with my edge rusher. I'm debating between two guys here, and I really can't decide which one that I want. But I'm going to go with Rashawn Gary.
Yeah, I had him.
I was really debating between Rashawn Gary and Max Crosby, which if you were going like 3-4, both of those guys could kind of be edge rushers from stand up too, but I'll take Gary over Crosby. But that one's really close. That was tough.
Not bad.
All right. So you are up with, you have a linebacker, an offensive guard, and a tight end left.
Give me Patrick Queen. To be honest, I haven't even followed him. Has he been okay? But I remember liking him a lot in 2020.
He's been he didn't adapt to the league very well early on. He had a really bad rookie season. His athleticism, of course, was good, and he kind of struggled again last year as well. So the athleticism's there. He hasn't quite put it all together in terms of understanding the NFL defense yet, but still pretty raw.
Okay.
And then you have offensive guard or tight end here.
Jesus. I'm looking at guard. I don't even know who this is, but it's coming up here. Dalton Risner out of Denver. Are you familiar with him?
Yeah. Is that how you spell it though? Risner? I think that's right. Dalton Risner.
Risner?
It's pretty good. Pretty solid player. I thought maybe you were going to dig into the well of my guys here and go with Trey Smith, who he was a guy I was all over last year too, along with Creed, and then the Chiefs drafted both of them, and I about said I was going to go be a Chiefs fan. So, okay, I'm going to close out my offense here. I'm going to use my rookie pick on an offensive tackle. I'm going to go Evan Neal. I really debated Evan Neal or Ike Ekwonu here, and Jedrick Wills was still on the board too, but I'll go with the rookie upside there, and then I will close out my team with wide receiver. This one's tough too. I was debating really hard between two guys that I really liked in their respective drafts, but I'm going to go with CeeDee Lamb here over Jalen Waddle, a guy that I called wide receiver 1 last year, but he's a little too close to Terry McLaurin, I think. I'll go with a little bigger receiver to close out my offense, and I will toss it back to you to see if you have that elusive tight end pick yet.
Yeah, it's looking like Dawson Knox, to be honest. I mean, I don't like any of them, especially. Well, I can't take one from 2022, correct? So
right.
Just give me Knox. I don't like that at all.
That's all right. It's an 11 personnel world, Deibs. He's not going to see the field very much. All right, so here
Dallas Goedert, was he 2018?
Was he 18 or 17? He was 18.
18. Damn it. All right.
Yeah, he was 18 because it was like, I remember like they came off winning the Super Bowl and they're like, let's trade out of the first round and then let's draft a backup tight end.
Yeah.
And I had some issues with that, but all right. So here it is, our results from our draft. Remember, we could only draft using players from the 2019 through 2021 drafts. We did get one rookie on each side of the ball. My quarterback is Justin Herbert, running back Jonathan Taylor, wide receivers DK Metcalf, Terry McLaurin, CeeDee Lamb. My tight ends are TJ Hawkinson and Pat Freiermuth. My offensive line is Penei Sewell, Michael Nwinu, Creed Humphrey, Chris Lindstrom, and Evan Neal. Deibs' offense is quarterbacked by Joe Burrow, running back Najee Harris. Burrow is paired with two, college teammates because he played with Jefferson, right?
Yeah.
Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson also has A.J. Brown. At tight end, he has Kyle Pitts and Dawson Knox. The offensive line is Rashawn Slater, Elton Jenkins, Tyler Linderbaum, Dalton Risner, and Tristan Wirfs. On defense, it looks like we're both playing a 4-3 here.
Yeah.
Although I guess you could be 3-4 with Parsons there. It'd be a little multiple. But I have Nick Bosa and Rashawn and Gary rushing off the edge. Jeffrey Simmons and Jordan Davis at defensive tackle. My linebackers are Devin White, Nick Bolton, and Isaiah Simmons. Cornerback trio is A.J. Terrell, Patrick Surtain, and Jamel Dean, with safeties Antoine Winfield Jr. and Javon Holland. Deibs has edge rushers Micah Parsons and Chase Young, going heavy on the NFC East there, with interior defensive linemen Quinnen Williams and Ed Oliver. His linebackers are Devin Bush, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, and Patrick Queen. His cornerback trio is Trevon Diggs, Sauce Gardner, and Greg Newsome, with safeties Jeremy Chin and Darnell Savage. Deibs, what's your feeling here? How'd your team turn out?
Pretty good. I like both sides of the football, to be honest. I'm pretty good with a lot of this. Again, my TE2, I couldn't even tell you who Dawson Knox is. I don't remember scouting him. And obviously I don't watch a lot of AFC football to begin with. So I'm pretty good overall with my team. I'm happy you got Justin Herbert. Trevon Diggs and Sauce Gardner are just ridiculous, I think, just in terms of playmaking. Those guys are going to be awesome. And I love Micah and Chase as my two bookends on the defensive line. I got a lot of speed at linebacker. I think I like your safeties a lot more than mine, even though I'm really high on Jeremy Chin. I'm a big fan of Antoine Winfield and Javon Holland. Those are good, really good choices. I don't know how I don't think anybody here loses.
Yeah. Well, somebody's got to lose, but yeah, those would be some stacked teams. I've always thought it would be interesting to see like an exercise where you have an expansion team come in.
Yeah.
What if you just like let them have a whole draft, like all those rookies? How good of a roster could you build? And obviously over 3 years you could build a pretty good roster, but it was interesting looking back through these drafts at just seeing how many of these guys, especially like more so day two guys that I thought would be pretty good players in the league, just aren't even there anymore. So there's definitely an attrition rate to it. But Dawson Knox, by the way, he had like 9 touchdowns last year for Buffalo, a little under 600 yards. So they use him pretty well in the red zone. But
I think the one advantage, the one thing I like most about my team is the quarterback and the wide receivers. I think, and then I've got 2 great offensive tackles to kind of provide pass protection. I think Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown, that trio is ridiculous. I think that's the clear advantage over your team. I could be totally wrong, but I love DK Metcalf, but I would put AJ Brown right there as well. So I think that's a little bit of an advantage I have on you, and Joe Burrow just lighting it up with those guys downfield. So that's, and then of course I've got Kyle Pitts. So I really like this offense. This is going to be a heavy passing offense, which kind of makes me think I probably should, instead of Harris, maybe go, what was that, Javonte David? He's a
Javonte Williams.
Javonte Williams, who's a really good receiving running back. That's one question mark. I don't like my interior guards that much. I can't really tell you much about Elton Jenkins or Dalton Reisner. So yeah, but I give it solid like A-. I love it.
All right. Well, if you gave yours an A-, I've got to do my traditional and give mine a solid A then. Just barely higher than yours. I knew coming into this exercise, like there was a lot of really good receivers. Tight end was a little tougher, or excuse me, not tight end, corner was a little tougher. There's been a lot more good receivers come out than cornerbacks over the last couple of years.
By far your best pick was the Jeffrey Simmons pick. I had him in my top 5 because after that, like, no offense to Ed Oliver. Actually, the guy that I'm literally making a video right now on Jordan Davis, I can't believe he slipped out of my head. And maybe it was because I was too focused on 2019, 2020, 2021. Yeah, Jordan Davis. I can't believe I let that slip through my fingers. Who was my 2022 guy? It was Sauce. I'm good with Sauce. I'll take that back. I'd rather have Sauce than Jordan Davis.
Yeah, that's a solid pick, especially to, relatively speaking, at a weaker position group.
Yeah. So I'm good with that, but I didn't even have Jordan Davis on my sheet, which is shocking.
I almost didn't use a rookie on offense. I was debating between Jedrick Wills and Evan Neal for that tackle spot, but because wide receivers, I like some of these wide receivers, but I don't know if I like any of them more than CeeDee Lamb without seeing him play in the NFL. So definitely wasn't taking a quarterback from this year. That's for sure.
Some guys I had really high was Max Crosby and Montez Sweat. I think those 2 guys are really, really good edge rushers. You took Jalen Waddle. Happy for you. Devontae did not get selected. Eric Stokes, I think, is a really good player. Did not get selected. Same with Asante Samuel Jr., Brian Burns, Andrew Thomas. Still waiting for Andrew Thomas to develop a little. Who was, what was he, like the first or second overall pick, right?
He was the first tackle that year. I think he was like third overall.
Was he?
He had a brutal rookie year, but he actually quietly played really well last year. So he had a good season. Max Crosby was high on my list. I assumed if you got the first pick, you were probably going to take Bosa, and then I was going to double dip Rashawn Gary and Max Crosby as my edge rushers because I thought those three were up there. And of course, I'm thinking of him more as a linebacker, but he played best last year as an edge rusher.
I wish Mark was here because, you know, who I also had rated pretty high, and I would have loved to see Mark squirm in his chair. Would have been Gregory Rousseau. I would have loved to take him and just watch Mark just bleep 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 bleep. That would have been really fun.
Yeah. Gregory Rousseau was on my list, but I knew there was. I really didn't rate that many edges because I knew that I was walking away with if you took Bosa, I was going 2-3 at Gary and Crosby. So I really didn't go past that on edge rushers. I knew I was going there.
Yeah.
But all right. Well, that was fun. Like I said, I'll clip this and I will throw it up on Twitter and let you guys vote for which team you think would win head to head. And then next week when Madden 23 drops, I will construct these rosters and I will either sim a game and report back with like the stats and stuff, or maybe Deibs and I will hop on and I'll live stream the game and we can just talk while we watch it play or something. We'll figure it out. But we will have Madden box score and stats, and we'll have Twitter results to see who won. So far, I said I had an A. Deibs said he had an A. So we decided I won. Now it's up to you guys, and then we'll leave it up to Matt. Deibs, thank you for joining us today. Before we get out of here, do you have any final thoughts? You want to plug anything?
We're just getting ready for Friday's, Eagles game here against the Jets. Right now I'm working on my top 5 players to watch on Friday. That video will be dropping right after this, probably like within the next 2 hours. I'm just putting it all together. So just excited for Eagles football, man. I'm excited to stop thinking of things to talk about, Shane. It's getting really annoying. That's kind of been the general theme of the last month or so has been just trying to be as creative as possible because there's only so much you can talk about. But now we're going to have real live games to talk about here about the Eagles. So I'm excited for Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. Off-season, you can only drag out draft content for so long before people just get tired of it. And people are tired of it. We're ready for football. We sort of get like a small taste. Don't get your hopes too high, everybody that's out there, because I promise you, you're going to get to the end of the first quarter and you're going to be like, I've never heard of most of these people. But we'll break it down for you. We'll tell you what you need to know about all these guys that won't make the roster anyways. But it'll be a lot of fun to see. I'm excited for that on Friday night. So, all right. Well, we are going to thank you guys for joining us for episode number 66 of Chalk Talk. If you enjoy what you heard on the show, and we know that you do, be sure you smash that subscribe button so you don't miss the next episode. Turn on notifications so you get that report back from Madden next week about who constructed the better roster. Drop us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. Those really help us out as well. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at @halfandhalf_TPL. He is at Mr. Crockpot. So for me, from Deibs, from the Painted Lines, we will see you guys next time.